Good morning from India. Artificial intelligence is revolutionizing the way organizations and companies work. And with democratization of AI, many organizations are bringing AI usage across their length and breadth. And this is making processes more efficient, providing insights that were never seen before, and reaching to customers in ways that were not possible earlier. And even from Deloitte's State of AI report, where over 3,000 more global leaders and business leaders were surveyed, majority of the respondents mentioned that their organizations are using AI across length and across different functions such as sales, marketing, procurement, manufacturing, and so on. But deploying AI is no small feat. It rather takes a lot of effort to make sure that the results are correct, fast, and reliable. And one of the biggest challenges that is often seen is time to market. So with that, let's discuss and understand the thoughts of our panel members that how does Agile AI crunching time to market is actually going to impact the future of businesses. So to begin with, Sushmita, you know that with digitalization, that's been happening, the organizations are becoming dynamic and progressive. And with AI and its applications, which are growing across functions and everyone are looking for rapid upshots, do you think it's the right time to bring agility in AI in order to grow at a faster pace?
Sure. Thanks, Nupur. And as you very rightly said, applications of AI in business today, in business decision-making, is becoming an absolute imperative in today's world. So every organization today generates vast amounts of complex data. And AI enables organizations to compute that data, recognize patterns, and generate insights that could guide business decisions. To stay ahead and relevant in this dynamic world market, where customer preferences are practically changing and ever evolving, and to stay ahead of competition, I think the AI-driven insights need to be generated real time. Faster time to value is becoming a necessity. So the purpose of AI use cases today is not only to understand what happened in the past and to react to it, but to predict what will happen and use those in proactive decision-making. Hence, there is a rising need for agility in implementing AI use cases. And one way of achieving this could be to bring data sciences together with technology transformation for faster and more agile deployment of AI use cases. Thank you.
Very valid point, Sushmita, that you brought on the table. And Latesh, is that also your thoughts? What are your views on this?
I would just say that, you know, the saying that goes, right, change is always permanent, right? The business is changing, the ecosystems are changing. All businesses are driven through so many external events as well. So no matter whatever your business is, be it small, big, you are a local organization or a global organization, you need to be adaptive. Today, I've been to so many CXO meetings, so many industry events. Everybody talks about generating value from data. So broadly, as I've seen, people have started, building descriptive analytics to figure out, okay, what's happening right now. Doing certain functions are doing it in isolated ways in the organization. But truly, as Sushmita said, and as we are seeing across in the industry, everybody, right from the executive leadership, needs to look at how AI can help them, right? Can they market better products to the right audience? Can they optimize their pricing if there is a competitive event in nature? So in that context, you got to be agile and leverage AI analytics, right, to to help you make the right decisions, right? And all of this has to be done at a faster pace. So I truly believe, right, like we gotta be fast in making these decisions. We gotta be able to do it at scale, right? And of course, we gotta do it at the right economic values as well. So I think organizations should definitely invest in talent who can actually help them, right? Be it agile in nature, make sure that they can deliver a variety of different use cases across different functions as well, right? And also have the right infrastructure and the right engineering platforms to help them do this. So if organizations are able to focus on getting the right talent, getting the right platforms, okay, and be recognize how the industry or the market is playing out, they should be able to take advantage of building faster AI and solutions and be agile to market situation. That's my thought.
Yeah, no, I think I agree to that, because, being fast, bringing that scale and being more adaptive is, I think, one of the key things that that needs to be there in order to bring the agility. And Varun, why, there's an inclination from clients that, they are looking for customizable these solutions, but why do you think these inclination has come, where they are looking for easy to configure and customizable solutions nowadays?
Sure, Nupur. I think as Latesh and Sushmita mentioned, this is the time to get more and more agile. And what we have seen, like, organizations primarily used to buy advisory services for long, but now in the last few years, with changing times, evolving marketing dynamics, and increased competition, they're now looking to achieve outcome at a much faster pace now than before. Therefore, they are looking for partners who can provide advisory services, also build and do large-scale implementations, and also manage these implementation on an ongoing basis. Therefore, to do these, there comes the need to build assets and accelerators, which can help them in multiple dimensions. The first is primarily faster time to deployment and go to market. Every business function within an organization is burdened to show ROI at a faster pace, show outcomes, increase market share, decrease cost, increase the margins. So there is always a pressure to showcase ROI at a much faster pace. Secondly, the organizations have realized there is no point to reinvent everything. They're looking for solutions and assets which are already working somewhere, which has been tested, proved their metal successes, and delivered return on investment. So can we leverage something which has already been tested in the market and customize it? The third is, which is about customization. All organizations are different. There are different KPIs, there are different ways of working. They're looking for assets and accelerators which can be customized basis their needs, basis their the ways of working in the organization, the different users, how they see outcomes. So customization has become a very important lever while they are buying assets. And finally, they want something tangible, which is left with them, which can help them to replicate the same asset to across functions, which they can use these assets and accelerator to scale. If the data increase tomorrow, number of analytical models needs to be upgraded. So these dimensions are moving all organizations to build assets and accelerators, which can help them in their journey at a much more faster pace. So that is what I think are the primary reasons.
Right. And Sushmita, have you also seen this kind of, inclination from clients that they are also looking for these things, while, as Varun correctly pointed, that ROI and something that they can justify? But we'd like to hear your thoughts as well.
Absolutely, Nupur. And to echo a lot of what Varun said, every organization has its uniqueness in its structure, in its offerings, in its technology and infrastructure landscape, and the way it functions. So AI solutions cannot be one size that fits all. So clients are looking for more accurate solutions, faster solutions, and also need those solutions to fit into their own organization structure. Only then could the AI solutions and insights be effective in bringing value to the business, and create an impact. The foundation and fundamental methodology can remain the same, but the features should be easily configurable to client needs. Only then they can be easily adopted by clients and be effective, more effective in driving business outcomes. The other thought here is, adopting AI solutions, as Varun also rightly pointed out, need to be cost effective. And they should be easily integrable with the client's existing tools and platforms. AI solutions need to be flexible in adoption. If I don't want a feature, I won't want to implement it. So that flexibility, configurability should be there. And also importantly, AI solutions should have the potential to scale, be flexible in terms of future changes and additional features so that they can evolve into a greater business landscape. Yeah, that's what I think, Nupur.
Very, very insightful, learnings that what clients and why are they exactly looking for. And Latesh, so we know that, while these are where clients are inclined towards, but when we are actually deploying these AI solutions on the ground, right? Because deploying AI do bring its own challenges and, concerns. And when we are actually deploying them over the ground, what are the typical challenges that we see? And how do we overcome those challenges is somewhere, we'd like to understand.
No, perfect. No, I think that's a very real question. In fact, that question is live on the chat as well. Somebody's asking that question to us. And it's good we came up with the same question, right? So there are 4 challenges that I think I would say broadly 4 challenges, right? First of all, AI can solve wonderful problems, but yes, you need a lot of data for that, right? I remember discussing this with a client. We were looking at a use case to predict prices for the raw materials. And the fundamental question, the client said, oh, this is all great. Your models can tell me what price I should buy at, but how will you do this? What kind of data do you need to do it? Where will you get that data from, right? Do you need to scrape that data? Do you need to subscribe to that data or, get that external data? So capturing all of these data sources in the right quality, the right speed is very important, right? Organizations need to figure that out. The second case is if, let's say, you're figuring out new products, right? We were trying to build a new product scenario for a client, and there is no historical data. Like you need test data, training data for AI solutions. So in many cases, if you're trying to do something new, you may not have historical data. So how do you generate or simulate or get historical data to make your hypothesis true? So that's the second challenge, right? The third one is, the model showed out great scores. It's working technically correct, but can I trust it? Will the business be able to trust those decisions? Can the process be explained of how and why these decisions were made, right? So that's the third challenge that I've seen in terms of adoption. And finally, operationalizing AI, right? Organizations have moved on from having 2 or 3 models to 20, 30, 40, 50 models and different permutation combinations. So can you operationalize all of this into production, make sure these models are running on a daily, weekly basis and doing it? So these 4 challenges, I believe, need broadly 3 treatments, right? 3 ways to do it. One is organizations need to invest in making a scalable, faster data platform so that it can deliver all the data to you in the right speed and take right quality, right? The second is we need to focus on explainability of AI solutions, right? How can you make sure that, okay, this is not and that's a theme going around in the world as well nowadays. So explaining what AI is doing behind it. And then finally, ML ops, right? How do you bring in a complete platform which can operationalize AI platforms, take care of events like data drifts around your models, and make sure that you're able to generate the models in an optimized way. Okay, so these are the 3 areas in which we could probably solve for these challenges. But again, that's a very good starting point. I'm sure every situation may be unique, and you got to double click on specific problems at your client sites as well.
Right.
Yeah, that's Nupur from my side. Yeah.
So, and Varun, what are your views on this? Like, because capturing the right data is of very much the essence, as Latesh said, and then that interpretability and explainability is something that clients and businesses are looking for, and it becomes many a times challenged to explain it to them. So, and what are these views on that?
So I think Latesh rightly pointed out, I think the key challenges what we face while we build and deploy these assets and accelerators, the transferability and explainability is one of the key factors. While making decision in a lot of organizations, they feel that the decision needs to be made on the basis of explainability because they have to take a calls, right, which can directly lead to increase in cost or not, right? So these decisions are heavily dependent on these algorithms. So explainability has come out quite important. Secondly, I think one of the key thing which I've seen personally is how do we these assets, who will own and account the responsibility of managing these assets? Will it be part of a CI organization? Will it be part of the business function who has implemented the use case? So who will be the owner and responsible for these? Who will set the right governance mechanism in place that these assets needs to be run on a regular frequency? What is the granularity? How the data will come and set the process right well. So that I think setting up the right governance mechanism is very, very important, because otherwise it will just become a research rather than an implementation. The third is, I think, about regular maintaining the robust and reliability of these models, consistently getting the right accuracy, which has been promised while doing the training, ensuring the drifts are taken care of. I think the Latesh mentioned about MLOps, which is gaining lot importance these days, because organizations want to ensure that the models which are deployed consistently perform and give them the outcomes which they have been regularly, I think, mentoring. The another thing is skill set. A lot of organizations don't have the right skill set exactly to build, to maintain these assets. So having the right ecosystem of people to maintain these assets on a frequency, I think they need to understand what is the right skills they do and do invest to continue managing them. I think these are some of the problems and outcomes which we are seeing in managing these assets, Nupur.
Yeah, and I think very these points are very valid and very real at the very same time, because that is what clients and organizations are facing, and they are looking for. And in this where everyone is looking for rapid upshots, is something that this becomes a very tangible thing. So one thing that we can clearly take away from this session is that in this competitive, fast pace and that data driven world, right, where being adaptive is the need of the essence, agility is the need of the hour, that what we can say, right? And the benefit of agile AI is somewhere where it is observed and apparent in the speed of the development, where the products and the solutions are developed at a faster pace, they are deployed at a faster pace, product is brought into the market at a very quickly. And that at the same time that Sushmita and Varun, you mentioned that these assets need to be very customizable, they need to be very easy to configure, because even if the underlying algorithm and the methodology is still remaining the same, clients want something that can fit into their organizations, right? So, and while we have these challenges as well, on one hand, that there is a concern around explainability, around interpretability, and even what are cost effective. They are looking for cost effective solutions. I think bringing agile as a guide along with artificial intelligence do have and does act as a powerful methodology to revolutionize the way AI development process works, right? And with that, that gives these businesses that are adopting this way of processes a very competitive and a significant edge over the other ones. So I think very enriching and wonderful discussion that we had. I would like to thank to all of you who have joined us today, as well as our panel members. Thank you for sharing these lovely insights, these experiences that you have.